10 News begins with breaking news.
The man wanted for attacking a Syrian teenager on an MTS trolley, leaving these bruises, is now in police custody. Good evening. I'm Kimberly Hunt.
And I'm Steve Atkinson. We first told you about the attack just last week. Our 10 News reporter Laura Acevedo is live in Encanto with how police were finally able to track that man down. Laura.
Well, it was actually surveillance video from the trolley that was able to confirm everything the teen had reported. They were able to use that video to ID the suspect and found him today, arresting him for something completely unrelated. It was an attack that police now say was all caught on video.
Asks, where are you from and are you Mexican? And to that he responded, no, I am Arab.
This interview from last week was just a day after a teen refugee from Syria reported the incident to police. Representatives from the Partnership for Advancement of New Americans spoke on his behalf.
The person began to pummel him in the face, all over the face with closed fists, and started to yell slurs and derogatory language and cursing.
Now police have arrested 26-year-old Adrian Vergara for the crime. Police say they found video that confirmed what the teen said happened. Vergara attacking the teen using a racial slur. The teen said no one helped him.
There were a crowd of people, at least 5 people that he remembered seeing just in that area watching. No one intervened, no one said a word.
This afternoon, Vergara was arrested by Harbor Police for a narcotics charge, where he was recognized as the man wanted for the hate crime and transferred to SDPD custody. Vergara is going to be arraigned on Thursday. We reached out to the group that is speaking on behalf of the victim. They told me that they were with the family today and they plan on releasing a statement about this arrest tomorrow. Reporting live in Encanto, Laura Acevedo, 10 News.
Laura, thank you. 10 News will be in the courtroom on Thursday when Vergara is arraigned. We will bring you the latest updates from this case as they come in. All right, this just in. Another measles case has been reported at Disneyland. Officials say the infected person visited Disneyland on October the 16th between 9:15 in the morning and 8:35 p.m. This is now the second case since August, and they are warning anyone who might have been in the park that day to contact their doctor if they develop symptoms.
A fire burning at Camp Pendleton is now 35% contained. The Oak Fire has burned just over 80 acres. It's just one of the many dangers we face as we head into a red flag warning later this week. We have team coverage of the fire and this week's weather conditions. We begin with 10 News reporter Mackenzie Maynard. She is outside the base where Cal Fire is now stepping in to help.
The Oak Fire is burning just beyond these gates here behind me. We're not allowed to go beyond where we are, but we do know it's burning near the Naval Weapons Station. Initially, the brush fire had the potential to grow fast and big. Near range 409, seen here on the Camp Pendleton map, fire crews believe it could have grown to about 200 acres. That's why Camp Pendleton Fire called in backup from multiple agencies, including CAL FIRE. They sent up engines, hand crews, and a helicopter. This image is from CAL FIRE air attack teams. You can see the fire burning below Tuesday afternoon. From the ground, smoke was certainly visible, even by people driving miles away.
I didn't, but my husband saw it when he was out this afternoon.
Chris Vrooman was making a trip to the grocery store when we saw her with her face mask. She wasn't wearing it because of the smoke, but rather a chest cold. However, she tells me she's no stranger to fires.
We do follow that, and we have irrigation, so we could turn that on. I suppose to help if a fire came that close to us like it did a couple of years ago.
Like the Lilac fire 2 years ago.
We packed up our cars, stood at the door watching the flames, that were not that far away.
With Santa Ana strengthening later this week, she knows how strong and unpredictable they can be.
The pictures on TV showed the embers flowing down the Highway 76 like a river. And it went in the other direction. Just all of a sudden it was gone.
Throughout the night tonight, fire crews will work to get full containment of the fire. Reporting in Fallbrook, Mackenzie Maynard, 10 News.
With gusty winds and hot temperatures this week, SDG&E notified 24,000 people their power could be shut off this week. Residents got calls from SDG&E about the potential outage. The power company plans to keep customers updated. And these are just some of the affected communities: Alpine, Campo, Julian, and Ramona. You can find a full list of the affected areas on our website, 10news.com.
Fire weather conditions are expected to last throughout the week. Our meteorologist, Angelica Campos, joins us. A red flag warning set to go into effect on Thursday, too.
That's right. So tomorrow is a bit of a breather, but it's still going to be hot around the county. Temperatures are still going to be in the 80s at the coast, and we're going to have some 90s in our inland communities. Then temperatures are expected to go up and eventually peak for a second time this week on Friday. The conditions are going to be at a major threat because of the gusty winds. In fact, they could range from 40 to up to 60 miles per hour. Red flag warning beginning at 5 a.m. on Thursday until 5 p.m. on Friday.
Thank you, Angelica. The 40-acre fire in the Pacific Palisades area is now 30% contained. It broke out yesterday. Firefighters are patrolling for any hot spots that could flare up as winds increase this week. They say the flames threatened more than 600 homes, but none was seriously damaged or destroyed. All evacuations were lifted last night. No word yet on a cause. A wind-driven fire in San Bernardino damaged at least 9 homes. The Little Mountain Fire is now 80% contained. That broke out yesterday afternoon, scorched 17 acres. Evacuation orders have been lifted. The cause of this fire is under investigation, but witnesses reported seeing children playing with fireworks before the fire erupted. And you can track the changing weather conditions by downloading our free mobile app. Just go to the App Store and search 10 News.
Former San Diego State star Kawhi Leonard was in the spotlight tonight, making his LA Clippers debut on opening night in the NBA.
But even Kawhi's biggest fans don't know the whole story. And 10 News Sports Director Ben Higgins is joining us now with this really never before told story of a tragedy when he was a teenager.
Yeah, you know, Leonard has really never publicly opened up about the 2008 murder of his father, but his stepmother Jacqueline is finally talking about what happened that night and how the unsolved crime continues to impact the family over a decade later.
Before becoming a basketball superstar with 2 NBA Finals MVP awards, even before leading San Diego State to the Sweet 16 of the NCAA tournament, Kawhi Leonard was a quiet teenager, quietly dealing with a family tragedy, the murder of his father, Mark Leonard, at the car wash he owned in Compton. More than 10 years later, still hoping to get justice, Kawhi's stepmom, Jacqueline Leonard, gave her eyewitness account of the crime to KABC, our ABC affiliate in Los Angeles, describing the shooter.
And he had on a gray sweatshirt and this hood over his head and all these dark clothes, but you couldn't see him, and he had something across his face. You could only see eyes. And I said, and when I went to say, who the heck is that? He started shooting.
Jacqueline Leonard was pregnant with Kawhi's stepbrother, Zion, at the time.
I ran outside and laid on Mark's back and was telling him, hey, you got to make it. You know, what about me? What about the baby, the kids?
3 months later, a car pulled into the wrong end of the car wash. This time, Jacqueline says they were coming for her.
The windows came down and a young man in the back sat up with an AK-47. And my friend said, run, he got a gun. And I remember thinking, not again.
Jacqueline Leonard was shot in the leg. Investigators believe the 2 shootings are related. She says it was very difficult for her stepson, Kawhi.
I knew from having Kawhi around me, I knew he's the kind of child that was going to be quiet and draw into his emotions. He was always a quiet child, but he seemed more withdrawn to me and focused on his basketball. I think that was his therapy. I think that for him, that was how he got through it.
Still no known motive. Jacqueline Leonard says she's sharing her story now in the hope someone comes forward with new information to help solve Mark Leonard's murder. I'll show you how Kawhi did against LeBron and the Lakers, of course, head in sports.
Yeah, an incredible story. And then it flashes back to remembering that he would be at the Aztec Stadium when the lights would go out and he would put candles out and keep practicing.
That was just a couple of years after that happened, yeah.
Certainly explains his quiet demeanor.
Sure does.
No doubt. All right,
Thank you,
thanks,
Ben. The man accused of starting a fire that killed his parents and his sister in their Logan Heights home pleaded not guilty to arson and murder. Prosecutors say Wilbur Romero took the family dog and escaped the burning house through a side door. Court documents reveal he was on probation from a violent attack at the family home back in 2018. Romero spoke to 10 News prior to his arrest. He got emotional, blaming his father for their troubled relationship.
It's hard when somebody doesn't speak to you. No one gives he's right there. He doesn't even say hi. And when he gives you a freaking hug on Christmas and on your birthday and like the rest of the year, he doesn't even talk to you or even look at you.
Romero's bail is set at $5 million. He faces life in prison if convicted.
Former U.S. Ambassador William Taylor testified behind closed doors on Capitol Hill today in the impeachment inquiry into President Trump. He says the president did order aid be withheld from Ukraine unless it publicly launched an investigation into former Vice President Joe Biden's family. The White House slammed Taylor's testimony as a, quote, smear campaign. The president insists he did nothing wrong, but is now facing backlash from Democrats and Republicans for comparing the impeachment to a probe to a lynching.
I would not compare this to a lynching. That was an unfortunate choice of words.
He never should have used the word, never.
And despite disagreeing with his language, many Republicans are echoing President Trump's frustration with the Democratic-led impeachment inquiry.